Hello everybody, welcome back to Santa's Switch Adapted Toys. I had a request, and you see a kind of a conglomeration of stuff here on my workspace today. There was a request to do something regarding a little touchpad type switch that was recently noticed for sale. Someone linked me over to it, and I'll link you in this down below in this video so you can see what it is. So that was the inspiration to start looking at smaller devices in the event that it would be beneficial for someone to activate a toy with. So the device that was in there was a square, and they come in 3 different sizes, I believe, and you touch it anywhere on it, and it's like it was super thin, which is what you see here. And we're going to use Beaver here as our activation so that we can hear what's going on. And then I had another couple of small ones that were good. So these are pressure sensitive switches. I'm probably not saying it quite right. I will make sure that I put it in the description. So let's see. FSR. They are a force sensitive resistor. That's what they are. These are all force sensitive resistors, these 3 things. And super thin, super small. And if you find yourself in a position where you can make a cast or make a fitting that some of these switches are too bulky, these might work for you. I'll also link to all of these in the description. So if you look at these closely, and I'm going to bring this up to the camera, and it kind of looks like, and we've seen these when we've adapted toys, it looks like the switch that's on board a circuit board. So the wavy lines in it. But instead of using a special button that's in the toy to activate it, you can use your finger. Okay, so properly located, if somebody has limited movements, and the reason I'm using the Beaver, by the way, is because I can interrupt his program, and each time this is pressed. So that is pressure sensitive, a little force sensitive, and it's not taking much force to do this. It's very, very reactive. So I'm going to turn him off for just a moment. So if you're looking at a limitation to put a switch in, and you want to try one of these, like I said, a cast or something, if somebody has very limited movements with their fingers, this could be put into a cast or something that's resistive, and even the knuckle can activate it. Now, it won't activate it out here in the air, but if this were mounted on something, we can activate and have the toy continue to react. Okay? So these come in different sizes. This one here, I think thank you, Beaver. I think the proximity of the spacing between these lines, I'm going to zoom in. This is a square pad. We'll plug it in. And the advantage to the larger pad is anywhere on the pad, we'll turn Beaver back on so he can help us out again. So I'm pushing in the corner, other corner, middle. So this is again another possibility to do it. proximity of these, I think, increases its sensitivity. It's pretty good. The third one that I got along the same lines is a strip. And these strips can come very long. I've got one that's like, you know, a foot long. And you see the distance between the lines here. This takes just a... No? I was going to say it takes more force, but it doesn't really. We're able to make this work. And all I did, you can see here, all I did was just attach a stereo cable to it. Different videos as to how to make up stereo cables. You attach them just like you would to any other switch, and there it activates. So placement being, again, if you have a small area, a confined situation that would warrant it, I think something like this might be a possibility if you want to do that soldering. Some other switches that I have, I use, let's see, those are the 3 resistors. These are the force sensitive resistors. I use, let's see, I was going to zoom in on these so you could see them side by side. Let's see if my zoom feature works here without making anyone too... It does, but I'm having trouble with my camera mounting. And I hit it. There we go. So here's the side by side, and you can see how small these are. There's a button battery, a 3016 battery, watch battery, and that is very small. My fingers, there's a pad off the bottom of one of the switches that I offer. The feet, there it is, about the size of that foot. So very small. And another possibility is, and these are a little bit pricey, by the way, but again, if the situation warrants it, I think they can work for you. This is a switch that I use. I use it when I do my, you've seen out there I have the 4-in-1. Let's move out. I have the 4-in-1, which this one's not wired up, but I use a Simon toy and I fix it up so that each one of these is activating switch. Got cables, 4 cables coming off of it, so you can do it. And when I take this apart, I throw away the switches in there and I replace it with these. And these are another circuit board mounted switch. I will also link where you can get these, as long as you tie to the 2 sides sticking straight out. I flattened this up. Here I've got a bag of them. I mean, I have the supplies to do a lot of different ones. When you buy it, they're looking a little spider thing. The prongs are down so that you can insert them into a circuit board. And I have flattened this out so that I can solder to it. And as long as you attach to the 2, either side, the prongs will come out straight flat like this, then you're activating a momentary switch. And there again, it's a way of putting a small switch. Turn it back on again. But being able to have a small switch to activate a toy. And placement, again, mounted into a position for placement. These are very inexpensive and could be more reliable than these, although I'm not sure about, it's probably a little bit more touch to for sensitivity. And then if you're really good at soldering, I'm going to get the last switch. There, looks like it's on the end of the wire has just been pushed together, but it's not. This also is another very micro switch that would be circuit board mounted. And again, all I've done is added the cabling to it. Okay. I'm going to do a pause and move all this out of the way, and when I come back I'm going to have some plastic here that we can form into a cast or something that you might be able to use to help your clients. Okay, I just walked into the kitchen and got myself a glass of hot water. Everyone has a hot shot in their kitchen sink, right? So that they can get 100 and some odd degree water for making your instant tea. And we have this thing called polyplastic. Polyplastic, moldable plastic, and they are beads. I'm going to grab a spoonful of them here. That's all they are, just a whole bunch of beads. That's what they start out to be. We're going to drop them in that hot water. Let's put a few in there. Two spoons full, just so we have something to work with. The hot water, these melt or dissolve or whatever you want to call it. They change consistency anyway at probably 110 degrees. Let's see. I don't think you can see this. I'm going to zoom in. Bear with me here. I get everything in lined up. What I always see is the reflection of the. Let me just come back out again. There we go. Okay, so you can see those white beads are now taking on here. I'm going to drop a couple more in. They're going in white, but they're taking on a clear appearance. And that clear appearance means that they're now malleable. They've changed form. And we can gather that glop up now. I'm going to let it be in there just a little bit longer because I dropped those other ones in. I turned it over so the beads on the bottom that weren't quite clear are going that way faster. So I mentioned this water is about 130 degrees. I don't know what the hot shot kicks it out at, but that means when I take it out it's going to be warm, but malleable. So now we're going to make something with it. Okay, forms into, I'm making something with it here. I just squished it all together and it's going to form into anything it needs to be. So I had mentioned putting one of these switches, possibly mounting it into something. So let's do this. Let's just make ourselves a ring, something to go around my finger. Kind of form it to my finger. This is not even warm at all anymore. I mean, it's just barely warm. And I'm going to push that switch into there. And I'm going to capture the wire so it's nice and safe. And let's see what happens. I got too many wires here. I've chosen this one here. Okay. So now, if your client has limited movement and has to have a small switch or something fixed, let's turn our beaver back on. The beaver back over into frame. Okay, so now this can be used to activate that toy. Okay, now this is still warm, malleable, and I'm shaping it to go in my finger, waiting for it to cool. If I had a glass of cold water, I could probably dip it into that and cool it, but then I'd be dipping the switch in too, and I really don't want to do that. But let's see, And it's warm here in Arizona today. So I won't be able to put it back on my finger and slide it off. We'll let it sit there. So this poly plastic quickly gives you the ability to make a custom cast, a custom holder for switches. And I'm not sure how well these would work in it, but I know that these small buttons, these small switches, perfect. I mean, it's a matter of getting the switch where your client can use it. So I'm not going to sit here and make you watch this dry. I'm going to go put this in the refrigerator for a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, so there it is. That's how quick it was. I went and put it in the freezer for probably a minute, less than a minute, and it hardened back up. So now it's a nice rigid solid piece. And as you can see here, I modified it while I was walking. While I was walking to the refrigerator, I thought, why am I putting the wire sticking out over here? That seems cumbersome. Let's put it back here in a more ergonomic position. And oops, let's plug it back in. Let's get Beaver hooked up again. So there is switch activated toy.
Oh, hi.
That's how you can make a very quick, simple switch that for folks with limited movements. Okay.
Let's get to our Beaver boogie break.
I will link to the polyplastic, these switches, and all of these devices here. If you want to tinker with them, I would think that this is a much more reliable switch to use if you're looking for confined. If you need some other characteristics, these might work, but this is cheap, easy to do, and you can have somebody fixed up with a adaptive switch in just a few minutes. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like what I've got going on here. Share it. Let people know that I care about helping as much as I can, making life better for anybody that's in physical disabilities. So, all right. Oh, I'm not going to play hide and seek shapes today with you. All right. Thank you, folks.